Hey there, Griff Hamlin here. Got a kind of a different video for you today. I posted up on my Facebook page the pedal board that I was using for a gig a couple of weeks back, and I've done videos like this in the past where I've sort of demonstrated the pedals that I've been using, but I have made quite a few changes since the last one I did, and so today I wanted to really just kind of go over with you what it is I use to get my sound. And some of these pedals are considered kind of, boutique pedals, and some of the stuff has changed a lot over the last couple of years with what modern technology has brought, and some of the new pedal manufacturers. But in any event, I wanted to do a video today and kind of show you some of the stuff that I've been using out on the road, playing gigs with various groups all over the place. So let me switch the camera over, and I'll show you what I'm using right now. So I guess the first place to start is the guitars themselves, and in general, you guys have probably seen most of these. This is down at my studio, so this is kind of what I keep on hand most of the time. I've got, of course, my trusty Suhr strat. It's a classic strat made out of alder with a rosewood neck. This one is several years old. Honestly, I don't remember. I think it's like a 2003 model, maybe. It's older. It's definitely been around, but it's got a lot of miles on it. Still plays amazing. And then I've got my my Telecaster, another one you've probably seen. This is a ash-bodied standard Telecaster from 1998 with a rosewood neck. As you can tell, I prefer the dark wood necks. I just like the feel, although I really like the tone of a maple neck as well. So one of these days I'm going to break down and get one. I've got the Gibson 335. This one here is, I'll bring it out so you can see it nice. There you go. This one's a couple years old. I actually did buy this new, I think about 3 years ago. So you can kind of see that. Great guitar. I put Lawler Imperial pickups in it, which I think really help. And then I've got a couple of just classic Les Pauls. I like the 60s neck. So this one here is, I just really love the color. I always, for pickups, I do a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge and a 59 in the neck. I've been using that combination of pickups for probably 20 years or more, and it works, so I don't really change it now. I do a little bit, some kind of funny stuff with my wiring. This is actually a master volume. It controls everything, and this volume here is for just this pickup, and this volume here is for just this pickup. So this will do the overall output, and that's great for me because I sing. So generally these stay all the way up, this stays all the way up or close to it, and I just can ride this just like I would on a Strat. That's really my big love for Strats, is the fact that it's so easy to control on stage because of the single volume. And then I've got the other, this is an older one. This is, I think it's a 2005. It's got the, the pick guard on it, the 1960. It's a classic, but it's got the, it's got the custom nameplate. This is Laura. That's my wife's name. So anyway, same kind of deal. You can see how this one's definitely older from the yellowing on the inlays there. And same thing, I've got the wiring done the same, except this one is a push-pull. You can pull that out and it'll tap the pickups. I didn't do that on the other one just because I don't really use it that much. So that's it for the guitars. The amp, I have a couple of different ones, admittedly. For this demonstration, I'm going to use, this is a Matchless Chieftain, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Although I have this, I have a Mesa Boogie Mark V. I have an old Egnator TOL 100 and a Two-Rock Emerald 50 Emerald Pro. It's not a 50, actually, mine's a 100 watt. It's one of 500 watts Two-Rock Emerald Pros on the planet. All wonderful amps. The Matchless has kind of a unique thing going on, so I kind of always gravitate back towards it for some reason. It's got that sort of half Marshall, half high watt thing going on. I don't know. I just really dig it. But what has definitely changed over the years is what we do with it from here. And you can see down here this the unit on top, the white one. This is by a new company called Two-Notes Engineering, and it's called the Torpedo Live. And this has just been fabulous. This is, I don't even know how to explain what this is other than it's a load box, so that if I plug the speaker out from my tube amp into it, it doesn't blow up. The amp doesn't blow up. But what it does is it takes all that power from the amp and dissipates it and turns it into something it can work with. And then it runs it through something called an impulse response engine, basically. I know that's not exactly what it's called, but basically you can choose a variety of different speaker cabinets and you can adjust. And they have different speaker cabinets and different microphones that are all modeled in there, and I don't know how they do this. It's pretty amazing. And you can actually load in what are called impulse responses of various cabinets. So in some situations I have impulse responses loaded in from like Mesa Boogie cabinets with EV speakers in them, and just a wide variety. So right now I'm using basically a Bad Cat 212 cabinet with a Nightfall microphone on it. So what you'll hear is what it would sound like, and it's really amazing. It's pretty much dead on how well it accurately reproduces these cabinets and microphones and stuff. So that's where that's going, and that runs into the input into the computer and then into Sonar. So what you guys will hear is, you know, what the computer hears. But this is probably what more people are interested in, and this is not, you know, not every pedal that I use by any means, but it was a great rig for a blues gig we did. And so the first thing the signal hits is the tuner, of course. That's a Korg Pitchblack. I like it. It's true bypass, and it also has an extra auxiliary power, so it's actually powering another pedal. That's how I get 9 pedals on here. I have a Voodoo Labs pedal power that will pedal 8 pedals, but by that auxiliary power I can get 9. From there it runs into the Prescription Electronics Experience, which is a fuzz or an octave fuzz, or it's got this thing called a swell that I never use, which is supposed to give you kind of like that backwards Jimi Hendrix guitar thing. I can't really make it work very well for me, so I don't really use it, but I use the octave on it. And then I have a pedal here called a Timmy. This is made by a guy named Paul Cochran, I believe is the last name. And of course I'll show you what it does. It's just a great, nice, transparent, low gain overdrive. I've heard that the Dan Electro transparent overdrive is a much less expensive but very comparable pedal. So it might be something to think about. I have a Voodoo Labs Micro Vibe for the Trower type stuff. This Arion Stereo Chorus, believe it or not, is actually set up to do like Leslie stuff. It's not a chorus at all. I can't imagine why I would use a chorus in blues. It just doesn't come up much, but it works great for the fast sounds, as I'll show you. And then a BB Preamp by Xotic Effects. This is probably the best for like the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff with the strat. You just can't beat it. And then this is by Lovepedal, and it's called the Li'l China. And it's really hard to describe. It's not a lot of gain. It's kind of like what an amp sounds like when you turn it up real loud and the speakers, the tubes start to break up. It's that kind of vibe. I use it to boost the Zendrive generally, or I'll use it by itself if I just want a nice, just a little bit of hair on the notes. And then the last one is a Hermida Audio Zendrive, which has become very popular in the last few years, and for very good reason. It's a great sounding pedal. And this is definitely the Zendrive and the BB are running the majority of the gain, and the Li'l China and the Timmy are mostly boosting. And then last but not least, flashback delay. And you'll hear I just use a little bit of almost like a reverb, just a little bit of echo. You don't hardly hear it. And then the big giant gray pedal is just volume. The Li'l China in particular doesn't have a volume control, so it gets pretty loud, so I usually have to back it off a little bit with the volume. So what I'm going to do is switch over the camera angle a little bit and kind of show you what these different things sound like. Okay, so to get started, let me give you kind of a feel of just the bass tone. So that's just the basic amp tone. I do have a little bit of reverb in the head that I'm using, so you'll definitely hear that going on. So let's just kind of walk through the individual pedals first, so you can hear what they do. I'll start with the gain, the Timmy. And I'm playing through the strat right now, so you can hear it's not adding a whole lot of overdrive to the tone, but it is adding just a little bit of hair. And of course, I could use that by itself, but it works even better boosting something else. So let's check out just the BB Preamp. So you can hear it really does that well, and it also reacts very well to the guitar volume. If I back it off a little bit, it actually almost even works better that way. So the Li'l China, like I said, now this one's going to be loud, so I'm going to back off the volume a little bit. So it might seem that it basically does the exact same thing that the Timmy does, and it really is very, very similar, but it also has a little bit of a more low end push to it to me. So granted, I probably don't need all four of these on one board, but I'm kind of experimenting right now. So they're all four there, and I'm trying to just really find out what the best combinations are, and as you'll see. So if I switch over to the Zen. And, if I had to, I could absolutely do an entire gig on just that pedal. It's a great pedal. It won't do everything. If you want to get into like the hard rock and stuff, it's a little bit more mid-focused than you would want probably for that. But what can happen is I can start to do what we call stacking these things. So, for example, if I'm playing on the Zendrive, and let's say that we are going to do like a more rock tune, and I want to goose it, I can turn that on as well. And of course, if I really want to get crazy, then I add a little bit of delay. Again, this is if I'm doing a rock gig more so than a blues gig, but I can get the whole big delay thing going on. Now if I switch over to the Les Paul, you'll really hear this. I'll do it without the Li'l China first. So this is the Les Paul just with the Zen. So you know, right away you can hear that that's definitely got more of that whole rock tone. But if I kick this on too, and you can tell that's that's really got a much bigger, you know, giant tone. So let me show you kind of how I use the octave fuzz. So if I generally won't use the octave fuzz by itself. You can. It's a little anemic. It's got some kind of funky things that go on, plus it's really loud. And you might be able to hear it really pushes this huge amount of low end. And fuzz pedals are just kind of weird, and they definitely take some getting used to. But and this is another one of those cases where stacking them can really help. So if I turn on like the BB Preamp, the BB Preamp can kind of, you know, keep that under control. Overdrive pedals can sort of absorb. They have some compression built in, so I can use a little bit of the fact that it rolls off a little low end for me, and plus that compression will kind of absorb some of what the fuzz is doing. So you can hear that's a much more usable sound. And if I turn off the octave, that's kind of an odd tone by itself. It's got that, you know, very dirty, ugly. But again, if I stack it, you know, there could be a place for that. It's a little bit of an odd tone, but like I said, you know, there definitely could be a place for that. So let's see. The Micro Vibe, you know, like I said, is for doing like the trower type stuff. And the Stereo Chorus, like I said, is for the type sounds. It's not a true Leslie, obviously, by any means, but it is a nice sound. And actually, you know, the biggest mistake I think most people make with that type of sound, or, you know, Leslie type of pedals, is actually using too much of the effect. What I like about this is that it has a depth control, so I can control, you know, how crazy it's getting, and not have too much. You know, when Stevie recorded Cold Shot, for example, there's a lot of the dry amp mixed in with the Leslie sound, or in his case, the vibratone sound. So you know, you got to have the original tone as well. So I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and you know, if I put together a new board, I will demo that too for you guys, and hope you dig it, and hope this helps you on your quest for the ultimate tone.